My name is Eli McKay, and I work with the Coastal Action Network, which is a coalition of 5 different organizations from the Coastal Bend area. And I do administrative work as well as research, just try to keep things organized and uplift the work that all of the different groups are doing. I've been organizing in this area since 2018. That is when I worked on a state senate campaign as a field manager for Nueces County. And that's when I got to meet a lot of people that I still work with today, like Sylvia Campos, Isabella Raiza. So it's great because I've been working with those people since 2018. And not only organizing, I ran for city council twice for District 1, Corpus Christi. I ran in 2020 alongside Jim Klein and Sylvia Campos on a platform that we called the People's Platform. And then in 2024, I ran alongside those same folks with the Clean Slate, and we had a lot more people involved. And so what I love is that this movement is growing. We're getting more and more people every month, every year, and people are being educated about the environmental consequences of some of the decisions that our leaders are making. I think what's the most difficult is the disconnect from the people that live in areas that are at risk. They really have a belief that the local officials are doing a lot and doing the most for us. And so my experience, out block walking, especially in District 1, District 1 encompasses pretty much the whole Refinery Row area. So there's communities like Hillcrest, like Donna Park, that have been subjected to major health risks, and the people that live there have not been given the attention and time that they need from local elected officials as well as their neighbors, these corporations that are, spewing toxins into the air and water. One thing I always like to talk about is when I first moved to Corpus Christi, I lived in the Donna Park area, which is right off of 37 and McBride, right in the refineries. When I first was moving in, I was out doing some landscaping, and this woman came up to me. I thought she was just gonna introduce herself, meet the new neighbors, but she was like, I came over to tell you, you need to stop what you're doing, and you should not be doing that without gloves on. Also, you should not be planting anything that you're gonna be eating. And so for me, moving to Corpus Christi almost 14 years ago was when that happened. I moved here from Western Colorado, and so it was such I don't even know, it was just a shift of reality, honestly, because where I'm from, our soil is not contaminated, and we have a lot of rules and regulations about industry that goes in. And so that was a very big wake-up call for me right when I first moved here in the area, before I even got involved in the organizing space, that had led me to want to get involved with different groups like the Sierra Club, which I'm the vice chair of the Sierra Club here in the Coastal Bend as well. Yeah, I think in 2022, I had been, working in this community for at least organizing for 4 years, and the point where Sylvia Campos and Jim Klein won their city council races, Sylvia had to go to a runoff, and so her winning that runoff and Jim winning that seat was very impactful for me, and I know a lot of the community that maybe felt like the odds were against us and maybe we couldn't, achieve that. But getting those folks to win and seeing that the impact that just 2 people had on the dais of shifting the conversation was probably one of the best experiences that I've had. Even though I didn't win my races, it was great to see them win and get up there and ask the right questions up on the dais. I think with the work that I do, it's so important for us to be able to pay attention to what's happening in every meeting. It's so hard for working people to pay attention to what is happening in the monthly meeting at the Port of Corpus Christi or the meetings for the Nueces County Commissioner's Court. And a lot of those decisions that are made are not even made in executive sessions behind closed doors. The decisions are made out in the open in the public, It's just the fact that a lot of people don't have time to pay attention to what's going on. And so for me, being able to stay informed, but also share the information that I know with people who know the direction to go, and how to combat some of these greenwashing narratives that are pushed, especially by the Port of Corpus Christi. I think as far as the city of Corpus Christi, the biggest thing since I've been organizing in this community is the desalination plant. And it matters to everyone, regardless of what demographic you are, regardless of what industry you're in. The desalination plant, as it's planned, is set to cause so much harm to the community. And I really think about the small business owners too, is they don't really have the time to understand how these things are going to impact them. So I think the biggest campaign or focus effort is really just education, educating our neighbors and everyone about what is happening, because a lot of people think that we can't make change, but I think that once you have enough people understanding the outcome of what is happening, I think that we can make a change. So I think one thing about me is I'm a working class person. I spent most of my career in corporate retail, and so I may not have the pedigree that a lot of people have when they are running for office. But I think that we need to overcome that just as a community and as a society, and realize that if you're passionate about something, you should run for that office, whether it be school board or a precinct chair or a city council seat, because we have a lot of people who are not qualified who actually do get elected and sit in those seats for a long time. And so my hope is that by people like me running, everyday working class people, we would encourage others to have the confidence to get out there and run, so that we can change the narrative and just change the direction our city is going.